welcome to this week's show. As you can guess, it's not hard to work out. We're going to be doing a show on the Ramones, and back by popular demand, we've got Peter and we've got Ian.
Hey, ho, let's go.
It's already started, and and we're good before we kick off and do the whole sort of review and the ranking thing and all the rest of it. We're going to discuss very briefly our sort of love of the Ramones and how we got into them and all that sort of stuff and when. And then we'll go through the 14 studio albums and the live It's Alive album. And Ian and I discussed It's Alive, and we both argued that it was essential. Peter a little bit less so, and we've gone with the majority because it came out when they were still going, so we felt it was a proper part of the discography, and we felt it was an essential album. So let us know your thoughts on that. You might totally disagree, and that's absolutely fine. As ever, there are no right or wrong answers on the show, just about. So, Peter, how did you get into the Ramones then?
I was thinking about this. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember when I first got into them. They were just one of those bands that was always there. I mean, I remember like dancing to somebody put something in my drink at a club. I remember sort of early memories, but they were just always there. Like some things I can really remember where friends gave me tapes when I was younger and what have you, but this isn't one of them. I remember I know that I didn't really get into them until later. Like they were always there, but they didn't really call to me because I liked something with a bit more grist, something like Killing Joke or Birthday Party, something with a bit more, a bit less kind of, straight up. I didn't think that there was much for me to hear in the Ramones until I gave them a proper listen, and I was like, oh my God, this is great stuff, So yeah, it would be some point in the 90s, but like I say, they were just always there, always like on the playlists. You'd be in people's cars and it would be playing, clubs, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, a bit vague, but that's how it was.
No, that's absolutely fine. There's no right time or wrong time there. Ian, how about yourself then?
Well, ever since I think it was 1980. So it's a real childhood band, and it was my kind of one and only band for a number of years, and I was obsessed with them. My brother had a mate who was older than us both, and he used to come round to our house with a bag full of LPs, And I remember, he was bringing around new wave punk and all that sort of. And I remember the first time he stuck with "It's Alive" on the first side, and I thought, oh, what's this? And as soon as I heard Blitzkrieg Bop, that was it. I never forgot it, And I was like, I waited a few months until I think it was my birthday or something like that, and I thought, oh, you know what? I can't get that tune out of my head. I've got to go and buy that album. So that was it. Me queuing up in Virgin Music Store in Newcastle back in the day, and I don't know if you can. Well, you can. I'm sure you can remember. Sid, at the time, it was a sweatshop in there.
Yeah, it was.
It was black.
It was black.
Full of people sweating patchouli oil, and you were absolutely dripping with sweat when you got to the front. It was a real achievement when you came out with your album, and it's Alive. This is the one album when I got rid of initially when I got rid of all my albums and just went on to CDs. I've subsequently been buying them again, but it's the one album I couldn't let go. I got rid of everything else apart from that because it meant so much to us. And I was basically, it was that one. And then I started getting one or two others, in a few months after that, but not that many to start with. But I was obsessed with them, but unfortunately nobody else was, My mate moved out of the area. He moved to Lincoln, and it was a very, very hard you couldn't really talk to anybody without them just taking the piss. And the occasional person saying, "Oh, I know the Ramones," and then it's, "Baby, I love you." I'm like, "Oh man, not like that. It's not like that." Yeah. So even reading in the like the New Music Express and Sounds and all those magazines and papers, there was never anything really about the Ramones, apart from the odd gig they played in London, you know. But yeah, so that was me. And I was hooked for years, and I didn't come across that many other people who liked them until you started seeing like loads of T-shirts popping up in the
Yeah.
like,
Ubiquitous now, isn't it? You know, you got all
oh
the
yeah,
young kids with the Ramones t-shirts, don't know any of the records, but they've all got
that's
the
it.
t-shirts. Yeah. Well, mine was odd because I got the Ramones through Ian, which was odd because I remember talking to him and I was going, "Oh, what sort of stuff you into?" And he goes, "Oh, I like Dire Straits." I thought, "Oh, all right, quite good." And he goes, "Oh, I like XTC." I thought, "Oh, well, that's unusual. You know, very, very different. I like XTC. I now love XTC in my head." And then he goes, "Oh, and my favorite band of the Ramones." I almost fell off my chair at the time when he told us. I was like, "So what?" You know, it was quite a big about turn. Go from Dire Straits to the Ramones is quite an extreme sort of. It's at one end of the spectrum to the other, really. Um, so I was quite taken aback by that, and I thought, "All right, okay." I didn't know much by the Ramones, you know, to be perfectly honest. Knew the odd song, heard them. Obviously, "Baby I Love You" was a massive hit. Knew a couple of the sort of punkier songs, Blitzkrieg Bop and that, but not much. And then one day when I had the record shop, so this is really late, I was about 17, 18, and somebody came in with like a big box of 100 cassettes or something, and I remember buying them off this guy, and he had like the Television album, like Marquee Moon, and all these great albums in. We only bought tapes in those days, and I bought in the Ramones album was one of them, and I played it, and of course it was all over in 30 minutes. You're thinking, must have cut some songs off. And I remember listening thinking, wow, this is brilliant. How have I never heard this before? It was absolutely knocked us over. There are not many albums that you distinctly remember for the first time and you're thinking, wow, that's unreal. And I remember listening to that and thinking, wow, this is incredible. It absolutely knocked us over. And then of course, not long later, me and Ian went to see them a couple of times. And yeah, they were good gigs, weren't they? The first one in particular was excellent. One at the Mayfair.
Yeah.
Mayfair gig was excellent. So not as good at the second one. Was it the University?
Yeah, I mean, the venue wasn't as good in any case, but they were kind of on their last album, I think, by then, which that's another
Yeah,
story.
yeah. Maybe save that for later on. But yeah, so there we go, folks. Just quick point of thing for me. I don't know about yourselves, but the Ramones are the sort of band who sort of I don't see them as a classic traditional punk band. When I think of punk, I always think punk starting with like the Stooges. Some people say the MC5. I'm not a big MC5 fan. I love the Stooges, and the Ramones don't come from that sort of, to me, that sort of strand of punk rock. I see them more in terms of lines with like say the Bay City Rollers. I see them in terms of the Shangri-Las, the Crystals, the Ronettes, all that sort of stuff. I see them with the Beatles, the Beach Boys, early Who. I see all that sort of influence in them rather
Bowie.
than maybe it's a little bit of Bowie, but rather than sort of, as I say, the obvious like the Stooges and the hard, heavy sort of rock stuff, which maybe to do slightly later on in the career. There's certainly, you know, influenced all the other bands that would follow, like the Clash were massive bands, apparently, you know, and you can tell, and certainly certain other bands massively influenced. I mean, no band was more influenced by the first Ramones album than the Undertones, because their first album's really almost like a tribute album to the Undertone to the Ramones, and it's brilliant. I had this is equally as great, but I don't see them from that strand. They have all this big '60s thing going on, and it's really resonant in their music. Yeah, they're a great band in my opinion, but we'll discuss that in the albums. So, folks, I'm going to put on the screen the rankings here of the band. So I'll just talk you through them. And may I add here, my rankings cover most areas. So there's not many bands cover 1 to 5. or 0.5. They don't cover 0.5, but 1 to 5 certainly. So 5's a masterpiece. 4.5's classic. 4's excellent album. 3.5's very good. 3's good. 2.5 fair. 2 weak. 1.5 very poor. 1's awful. And 0.5 don't bother. And I think we've maybe had literally one 0.5 album, and that was The Madness album, you know, which is terrible. It stinks to high heaven. So it'll be interesting to see where our rankings come here. So Peter, we're going to start with you. We've got 15 albums in total. So let's try and whiz through some of this and see what you think. So what have you got at number 15?
Okay, this is going to be controversial because I've got it. Purely because that's not how I enjoy the Ramones, and also because I worked with somebody who absolutely loved that album. And
Which one?
He would put "It's Alive" on.
Oh, It's Alive.
Sorry, did you lose me sound wise there?
Yes, I've also lost the will to live there for a second. Go on.
Sorry, what I was saying was my number 15 is "It's Alive," because for very good reason that I don't like to listen to the Ramones live stuff. It doesn't work for me. And I worked with somebody who loved that album and would often play it in the office, and it drove me absolutely insane. So I was kind of hoping that we wouldn't put it in because it's not that the songs on it aren't great. They're great songs, but it's just not the way I enjoy the Ramones. And yeah, it doesn't give me any pleasure. So I'm just getting it out of the way first and putting it in at the bottom. Sorry, I know it's going to be, yeah. There you go.
How many stars are you giving it, Peter?
I'm giving it 1.
Right. Wow. Wow. I feel that's the end of the show, folks. Ian Ramon, what have you got at number 15?
I've got sound problems. I think he said. I think Peter said "It's Alive" for the first one. Right. Right. Okay. My number 15 is no surprises here. I would imagine. Adios Amigos. It's very poor. Let's face it. There's not a lot on there. This was the album where the future of the Ramones rested on, and if it was going to bomb, then they were going to split up, and it bombed and they split up. And if they were going to put more stuff out like this, then it had to end. Like, because I think it's a terrible album. I've gone through all the albums, and I've listed all the songs, and I've highlighted the ones that are worth talking about, and I've only got 3 on this one. Born to Die in Berlin, Have a Nice Day, and I Don't Want to Grow Up. I Don't Want to Grow Up is a cover of Tom Waits song. I'm not sure which album that's from.
No, I don't either, actually.
But that's probably the best song on this. I mean, incidentally, that the Ramones, I thought, did do fantastic covers of. Generally, they're a brilliant. When they do a cover, they really do it well. But the thing that annoys me most about this album is bloody CJ's vocals.
Terrible.
I can't abide when he sings, and he tries to make it sound. He tries to change. Well, not, obviously he's not the only one in the band, but it's almost like they're trying to change the band into someone like Green Day, who I can't abide. Yeah. I absolutely hate that band. So it just makes my skin crawl. And then he pens a song called Cretin or Cretin Family, and I just think, oh right, so you've nicked one of the early songs, and because you've nicked that word, it makes it a good song. Well, it doesn't, because it's terrible, especially when he's starting Cretin Family. Oi, 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 oi. I mean, that's not the Ramones, so oh no, it's a real stinker, this one. What about the album cover? I mean, it's absolutely hideous.
Apparently, yeah, go on, you tell us.
I was going to say, apparently, some artist like who was influenced by Andy Warhol and Rauschenberg. I think it's his artwork, but they've just modified it. There was two Allosauruses wearing witches' hats, but they've got sombreros on as well.
All right.
But it's just a terrible album cover. You know, if you saw that in the shops, you just you'd give it a wide berth. I suppose it's like a warning not to play this album. Like,
apparently the dinosaurs are because Joey was ill, and he didn't want the band to be on the front cover because they didn't look great. That was Johnny Ramone's thoughts, which is fair.
I know Johnny was keen on the dark. Some of the other album covers that were really dark, you know, like Halfway to Sanity and Too Tough to Die, because they didn't look old on them because you couldn't tell, you know.
Yeah.
So, but even then, they could have just had some logo on or something. I hate the album cover. I think it's terrible. And Joey only gets a couple of songs, but Joey is the voice of the Ramones. So that I've given it 1.5, and I think I'm probably being a bit generous.
All right, okay. Well, 1.5 stars. That makes it off. Very poor, very poor. I've not started that high. I'm afraid. I'm not at 1.5 star territory yet. And I've gone in. The first album is Acid Eaters, which is absolutely atrocious. It's just terrible. It's a covers album that they released in '93. Apparently, it was an obligation album. They didn't really want to do it, but they did. They did it. Pete Townshend's on it, actually singing on Substitute, which is weird. You can hear him shouting in the background. It's just awful. I can see why they've covered these songs, but not great. Although Surf City's excellent, which suits them down to the ground. And I Can't Control Myself's all right, but the Buzzcocks did a better version. So Buzzcocks version is definitely better from the earlier days. Shape of Things is pretty good, but again, Slade did a better version. In fact, Slade's version's magnificent. If you've never heard that one, go and listen to it. But it's just awful. And yeah, cover albums, I sometimes like them. Depends on the artist. I mean, there are some really great cover albums out there, you know, when you think about like Scott Walker and that. But in this case, oh my God, it's just atrocious. It will never get played again ever in my household. So I've given it 1 star. So there we go. That's my 15. Peter, what have you got?
Have you played it many times?
No. I played it when it came out. I remember it when I listened to it again. I thought, oh, this is terrible. And I'll not be playing it again for another 30 years. So, Peter, what have you got at 14?
Well, joining you, I've got Acid Eaters. I have nothing good to say about this album. The worst offender on it for me is Somebody to Love. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, but I heard that they'd done a song with Tracy Lords. I thought, oh, here we go. This should be a laugh. But it wasn't. Wasn't even. You know, it wasn't even funny. And like, if you're going to do covers, at least have the decent make it funny. And yeah, none of these are. When I was young, I quite like, and The Shape of Things to Come, kind of okay, but other than that, yeah, awful one.
Yeah, was 1 star territory. Ian, what?
Do you not like Out of Sight?
No.
Out of Time? No.
Oh.
No. What have you got in the 14, Ian?
14, I've got Animal Boy. I've highlighted one song on this one, you know, which was Animal Boy, which is quite a good song. You know, it's a fast song and quite a punchy driving song. I just don't get what this album's supposed to be. Really, it's a kind of mishmash, and there's some absolute stinkers on, like crummy stuff, which is in itself crummy stuff. It's absolutely, must have taken them like not even 5 minutes to write. It's terrible. It's absolutely hideous. My Bonzo Goes to Bitburg is all right. Like, that was about President Reagan, and when he went and visited the war cemetery, which had about, I think it was about 50 odd Nazis buried there, like, you know.
SS, weren't they?
Yeah. You know, I think there was about 3,000 German soldiers, but there was like a load of Nazis buried there, and he's laying wreaths, and so that went down like a horseshit sandwich.
Well, so the band refused. I mean, Johnny refused to play it, didn't he? Because Johnny, let's be honest, was on the right.
Oh, he loved
It's
Reagan.
fair to say he's a proper right winger, wasn't he? He loved Reagan, whereas the rest of the band are left wing.
I think the record company forced them to change the name of to My Brain Is Hanging Upside Down. Brackets. Bonzo Goes to Bitburg. Somebody put something in my drink. It's all right. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's you know, it's all right. It's a true story about when Richie used to go to the New York nightclubs. This is Richie Ramone, who was the replaced Marty. They used to go to the nightclub, couldn't afford drinks, so they used to wait for people to get up and dance and then go and nick their drinks. But one time, somebody dropped some acid in the drink and then went up for a dance. So that, you know, he had a bad trip after that, and that's what that was about. Love Kills, Dee Dee song about Sid and Nancy, not very good. It's sounds a bit Sex Pistol-y, but not a great song. 8 Man Hop, notable only for its Tarzan speak at the beginning, mentioning Ungawa. That's about it. Eat the Rats, another thrash song, but not very good. Something to Believe In, that's not bad. It was that's the one where they did that Band-Aid piss take video, and they're all in holding hands in line, even when they're standing at the men's urinals. Holding hands. But yeah, very poor album, so I've given that 1.5.
Sorry, folks, I'm laughing too much. Right, well, my number 14 is Adios Amigos. You'd said most of it. It's just cack. It's absolutely awful. I mean, dear me. God, look, where do you start even on it? I mean, the Tom Waits song, I would never know it was a Tom Waits song. The Crusher is basically, it's foreshadows bands like Blink-182 and all of those sort of bands that I'm not a big fan of. Life's a Gas, he's clearly took the title from the T-Rex, great T-Rex song, and he even sings a bit like it at times. Take the Pain Away, I don't mind actually, I think it's all right. Cretin Family's atrocious. Scattergun's really bad, and I've just written, does not fit in. It is not a Ramones song, it does not fit in. No. In big letters. She Talks to Rainbows is pretty decent, actually. I quite like it. I don't mind it. And the last song was all right. Dee Dee sort of makes an appearance at some point. And again, I'm still in 1-star territory. So, yeah.
Yeah, She Talks to Rainbows, that's the Joey song. And his songs on that album are a little bit a cut above the other crap on there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'll ever listen to it again. But it might be 1.5. I might scrape to 1.5. I'm in the border. I'm on the border. Peter, what have you got at 13?
We are going to be having a fight before this shit is through. Somebody Put Something in My Drink is one of the greatest records ever fucking made. Anyway, back to the list.
I think somebody must have put something in your drink.
No. My number 13 is Brain Drain. Weak as Water. A couple of belters on it. I Believe in Miracles, Can't Get You Out of My Mind, and Pet Sematary are great. But the rest of it is just dross to me. Yeah, not much point in saying much more about it, really. I'm sure, you know, you guys will probably do the same as I don't know. Wait and see. Yeah, so 2 stars.
2 stars, wow. Whoa, it's a leap of faith, to quote Bruce Springsteen. Ian Ramone, what have you got in at number 13?
Oh, just as a side note, this whole thing that we're doing now has been really good for me because it's forced me to listen to the crap albums. So I've spent the last few months playing and playing and playing. And some of the albums have surprisingly, gone up in my estimation. And I probably would have not played a lot of them more than once or twice, but I've tried to re-listen and re-listen. So things have kind of shaken down to a sort of, I mean, it's you're probably going to disagree with a lot of what I've got, like, but anyway, number 13, I've got Mondo Bizarro, and I've got 4 songs highlighted for that one. Censor Shit, Take It As It Comes. Well, that's a Doors cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tomorrow She Goes Away, and Cabby's on Crack.
Yeah, it's a great song. That I love that one.
Ramones had just left Sire Records, and they just signed with Radioactive Records for this one. And CJ had taken over bass duty after DD had left to become rap star DD King. The less said about that, the better. Have you seen the clip?
Oh, no, let's say a lot about it. That video is legendary in my house. That is awesome. That's some bad stuff. Love it.
You know where it came from? I think he was in one of these, like a Drugs Anonymous, that sort of group. And they were all going, oh, they must have just been kidding on rapping. And then, oh, you should do a rap album, you should do that. And they were like, they were the ones who pushed him into doing it, I think. And he got in his head that that was the way to go, and he bought it, and then he looked back on it and he was embarrassed by it. And yeah, I think he said, like, I think we should leave it. No, never mind. Anyway, the once again, I've written here a shite album cover. No one would buy it off the shelf based on the quality of the artwork. It's terrible. I mean, no, since after the left Sire, it was just crap artwork. So any censorship was Joey on vocals. Anxiety was quite a good song as well. I think that was Marty's song. Strength to Endure, awful. Once again, CJ. Thanks, CJ. Nothing against his bass playing, he was more than capable of bass playing, but not on vocals. And even Joey's song, It's Gonna Be All Right. I think it's gonna be all right. Even on that song, Joey's lyrics say all is very well, CJ is here, and I'm like, whoa, not really. But man, I think I've said everything about that one.
Yeah. How many stars, Ian?
I've given that one 2 stars.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got the same album at 13, Mondo Bizarro. I've given it 1.5 stars. Censor Shit, I really like. Very good opener, I thought. I think it really drives it. I really like DD's song, Poison Heart. It's a really good song, actually. And then I've just written here, Anxiety, Pillar, in brackets. Strength to Endure, awful. Tomorrow Goes Away, Ramones by Numbers. Cabby's on Crack is great. I really like it.
Yeah.
Just by the title. And I wrote Touring is almost a pastiche of former Ramones songs. And it's quite sad to listen to. It's just a terrible album. 1.5 stars. I've got no more to say about it.
Touring, it's basically Rock and Roll High School, Rockaway Beach mixed up in a blender.
Yeah, I was trying to work out which ones they were. If you'd never heard the other songs, you'd have said, oh, this is great. But nah, rubbish.
Terrible.
Stinks. So, Peter, what have you got at number 12?
Number 12, I've got Adios Amigos. Yeah, I liked a little more than guys did. I liked it a bit more than Brain Drain. I love the cover of I Don't Want to Grow Up, which is, as we know, Tom Waits from the Bone Machine album. And I really like it because they keep the humor in it. It's quite a yeah. It's quite a fun song, and they do that. They do that well. The tracks I like on Adios Amigos is It's Not For Me To Know, I Love You, and I really, really love Scattergun.
Oh,
Yeah,
ouch.
sorry, we are going to be disagreeing right through this. And then, of course, it's got She Talks to Rainbows on it, which Joey wrote for Ronnie Spector.
Yeah.
And she on later with Jules Holland, and she put on her EP. And She Talks to Rainbows is a beautiful song. So yeah, Adios Amigos, Adios Amigos is a 2-star for me. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, interesting. Ian, what have you got next on the list?
Next on the list, I've got this is one of the ones that jumped up and down a bit. I've got I've got Subterranean Jungle. Now, once again, I'm not quite sure what this album is supposed to be. I think it's an album of two halves because the songs I've highlighted are all basically on side B, apart from Outsider, which is on side A. But it beggars belief why you would start an album with two covers.
Two covers, yeah.
It's and I don't particularly like them very much.
None of them are good.
No. Now the first cover I heard was the third cover on the album, which was Time Has Come Today. When I first heard it, it was just after Pleasant Dreams. I think I heard on the radio and I thought, what the hell is this? I didn't realize it was a cover. And it kind of put me off the album. Since then, I absolutely love it. Since I've heard the original and years later, I absolutely love that song now. Psychotherapy, excellent song. That was like a mainstay of the live sets, wasn't it? You know, and good use of the emergency service sirens at the beginning. I think it was when he was going into therapy, he thought he'd write a song about it, like, you know. The funny thing on it's a reasonable album cover. It's a pretty decent album cover, but the funny thing is that Marty's sat in the window, and the rest of them are in the tube where the tube open doors. That was because he was just about to be sacked, and that was him being pushed in the corner. You know, a bit of humor on the front cover. What do you do? That's a decent song. Guitar licks don't particularly sound like Johnny. Bad ending with a crap severe echo effect. It just there's a sudden stop with an echo on it. Sounds terrible. Highest Trails Above. That's another decent song. The guitar intro reminds me of You've Got My Number by the Undertones. My Kind of Girl. That's a song of two halves. It's the chorus really uplifts the song. I really like the song. The verse is all right. It's kind of feels like it's Birds influenced. Outside as a steady rock song. Somebody Like Me is a bit Blitzkrieg-esque in the intro only. Time Bomb reminds me of something I can't work out what. But I think every time I eat vegetables, it makes me think of you. Reminds me of a bit of the KKK. But I've given it 3 stars. I thought I'm probably being generous. It probably deserves 2.5, but probably I think I'm being a little bit more generous because they're kind of my band, you know, I grew up with.
Yeah,
so.
That's fair enough. Well, I'm getting a bit annoyed because we're sort of converging too much here, because that's my number 12 as well. I think the best thing about it is the album cover. It's just a terrible album. I actually had this originally lower down, but I did move it up just due to Psychotherapy being on, which is one of the best songs he ever wrote.
Yeah.
I do actually like what you do. I thought I wrote the two covers at the beginning are terrible. Somebody Like Me is decent. Time Bomb again, Ramones by Numbers. Yeah, nah, it's just rubbish. It's a terrible album. 1.5 stars for me, I'm afraid. Just don't like it at all. It won't be played again. Number 11, Peter. What have you got at 11?
Not Subterranean Jungle. We've got a long way to go before I bring up Subterranean. I don't know that we've ever been quite so divergent as we are on this.
Just wait till later on, Peter. Just wait till later.
Yeah, I think we're coming at them just for totally different angles. I think it's going to make a good watch. So, my 7 is Halfway to Sanity. I like I Want to Live. I love Garden of Serenity. I love Death of Me. And then also Bye Bye Baby. Ronnie Spector did that one as well. I don't know if he wrote that one for her, but she did it on her EP. And I really love that song. Go Little Camaro Go, the duet with Debbie Harry. No. Bloody bottle of vodka down. For God's sake, step away from the cocaine. Just a million times no. Yeah, so, but it's still, there's some corkers on there, so it's still a 3 for me.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Ian? What are we at number 11 now? Because I've mixed them up.
Yeah, 11.
My numbers don't concur, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But I've got Brain Drain for this one, which was I think you. What did you have this one? Did you have this one up?
I haven't. No.
All right. Okay. I've got this. I've got Marty's back. Marty's back on this album. After he missed a couple of albums, I think, and he's back on this one. This is definitely a grower. I don't think it's great, but it's all right. It's got better the more I've played it. It does improve with more listens. I Believe in Miracles. Good opening track, a bit heavy. Reminded me a bit of the Pleasant Dreams album opener. 00 UFO, fast and catchy hook in the chorus. And again, it's another when Joey's on the vocals. It just sounds like the Ramones, Punishment Fits the Crime. Not a very Ramones sound. It's Dee Dee's singing about his problems with the law. Don't Bust My Chops. I really like that one. Quite heavy. The verse is a bit like High Risk Insurance from End of the Century. Learn to Listen, another fast and heavy song. That's quite an enjoyable. They've got a little bit Motorheady on parts of that song, I think. And Ignorance is Bliss, I love. That's really fits in the mental category. Can't Get You Out of My Mind sounds pretty good. It was from the sessions from Pleasant Dreams, which was a few years earlier. I thought that would have probably fit on Road to Ruin album, because it's got that kind of feel to it. I'm not a fan of the cover of Palisades Park. The A side of this album was Dee Dee mainly. Side B was mainly Joey's songs. Come Back Baby, quite edgy. Chorus is a bit of a letdown though. The chorus has got a bit of a 60s feel to it, and I prefer the verse. Again, it's like that's like a song of two halves. And again, I think the album's a bit of an album of two halves. You know, some of it's good, some of it's. But I've given it overall a 3-star.
All right, okay. Well, I concur with Peter on this time round, and I've gone with 11. It's halfway to sanity. I've just written it's Richie Ramones' last album. I've written too much filler on it. I mean, I absolutely love "I Want to Live." I think it's a great song. I really do love it. It's a super song. They used to play that all the time, of course. I really like "Bop Till You Drop." I think it's a terrific song as well. Really, really good. Weasel Face, not great. I wrote the Debbie Harry songs okay. I Know Better as a heavy song's okay. Death of Me, filler. I Lost My Mind, awful. I'm Not Jesus, just doesn't, thrash type song doesn't suit them in my opinion. I just don't really work for me. Bye Bye Jesus, I've written a very good song, but doesn't fit on the album. It's a really good song, but just doesn't fit right. If it had been on one of the earlier albums, it would have been absolutely perfect.
Which
Um,
one?
the Ronnie Spector one, the Bye Bye Baby.
Oh, Bye Bye Baby.
I've got written Like a Crystal song is what I've got written here, or Shangri-La's, that sort of thing, isn't it? It's a great song, just doesn't fit. And then Worm Man, awful. So I'm borderline. I'm gonna go 2 stars. I'm gonna lift up the
Oh,
boundary to 2 stars. It's weak. So there we go. So Peter, what have you got in at number 10?
Okay, I've got Animal Boy, which obviously, as we know, kicks off with one of my favorite songs of all time. Not just one of my favorite Ramones songs, one of my absolute favorite songs.
Right.
Somebody Put Something in My Drink. I just remember that fucking dance floor filler. It just an immense song, and yeah, to me, it's one of those where if it came on, you were with friends, everybody would be singing along. It just really, great. Then She Belongs to Me. I like that one. I love My Brain Is Hanging Upside Down. I love that wall of sound that they've got going on that. I think that's, again, it's one of my favorite Ramones songs. And Something to Believe In, I think, is absolutely cool. The Pretenders did a cover of that, which was
Did they
really good.
really? I'm a massive Pretenders fan as well. I don't recall it.
Yeah, it's on the Ramones tribute album. They
All
do,
right.
yeah. Oh, hang on, unless I'm remembering wrong, and they
No, you'll be right, I'm sure. So
no,
yeah.
they do. Yeah, I'll have a look in a sec. But yeah, I love that. So Animal Boy is I think it's a pretty solid album. There's definitely some duff in there, but the brilliance of Something in My Drink and My Brain Is Hanging Upside Down really propel it for me, and it's a 3 stars.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Ian, what have you got at 10?
right. I might get lynched for this. I've got Acid Eaters here. Now, I've played it and I've played it again and I've played it again. And I actually quite like it. I do like this album.
Have you played it 3 times?
I've played it loads.
That's one more time than I've played it in my life. It's never getting played again.
I
So.
really like this. I you know, I think I love listening to like the Stones cover, the Who. Yeah, I think that I think Joey's voice on this sounds great. I think he really, more than anybody, normally if somebody does a Stones cover or a Who cover, it sounds all right. I think his voice sounds brilliant on their material. I really do. I mean, I'm a massive Joey Ramones fan of it. I think he's got something that's very, very unique. And just I've apologized, but I just like a lot of these covers. The Doors covers would have fit on this one, but that had already come out, I think, a few years before this one. But again, I'd never heard this album until I sat down and started doing this review thing, and I thought I was going to hate it, but nah, I can play it. I can play it multiple times and quite enjoy it. You know.
How many stars, Ian?
I've got. I'll mark this one a bit down. I've had 3.5, and I thought no, three.
Wow, three's a good album.
But CJ is not as annoying on this album.
Yeah,
is
CJ's like the Scrappy Doo of the Ramones, isn't he?
Yeah,
You know?
he is.
So right, well, I'm concurring with Peter here. I've got Animal Boy in at number 10, which it was mixed at Polar Studios, which is ABBA's studios, which was quite a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. Somebody Put Something in My Drink is a great song, although written by Richie. It's a fantastic song. I really love it. It's one of my favorite Ramones songs. I thought Love Kills was good. Terrible singing. Joey should have sung it. 8-Man Hop, so. She Belongs to Me is a good acoustic song, but I'm not sure it fits. Crummy Stuff's absolutely atrocious. Bongo Goes to Bitburg, and you've explained the whole story. I think it's really good. I really like the song. Simon's favourite song, bizarrely, Ian, by them. What else have I got? Mental Hell, all right. Eat the Rat, awful. Freaking Nature, decent guitar playing on. Something to Believe on. It's a really good song, but again, doesn't fit in on the album. Style-wise, stylistically sticks out like a sore thumb. But it's a good song, you know. Again, I'm still in 2-star territory. I'm afraid I'm not prepared to move up, so it's still poor. So there we go. Peter, what have you got at number 9?
Number 9, I have got Too Tough to Die. I really thought when I started doing this, I was like, yeah, Too Tough to Die is going to be like 12 or 13, because I really thought I just can't stand that album. What it is, I just can't stand the title. Too Tough to Die. You're fucking not boxers. It's just like the kind of machismo that I can live without.
Well, it obviously wasn't true, seeing as they're all brown bread, like.
Precisely, and it's just the minute I heard the title, I was like, oh, shut up. So yeah, but it does have some absolute belters on it. Sort of listening through it. And the other reason that I knew that this album is down marked for me, and I thought it would be a lot lower, is because bloody Warthog's on it, and that is one of my most hated.
I really love Warthog.
Love it.
Not just Ramones, anyone ever. There's just, to me, it's worse than the fucking Birdie song. I hate that. But this album does have I'm Not Afraid of Life, Daytime Dilemma, Howling at the Moon, Chasing the Night, some absolute belters on it. And yeah, it puts it in at number 9 for me with 3 stars.
Right, okay. Ian, what have you got next at number 9?
Number 9, I've got Halfway to Sanity. I've always loved this one. Maybe I shouldn't, but I do. I absolutely love this one. And the songs that you guys might not like, I absolutely love, like Worm Man and Weasel Face. I think they're brilliant. I think it makes me laugh, but I still love it. It's not like crap humor. It's like I think the songs have got something a bit of oomph to them. I love them, and I've highlighted almost all of the songs on this album, like apart from Bye Bye Baby, which you mentioned doesn't fit on there. A Real Cool Time and I Know Better Now. But I Want to Live, a great album opener. Bop Till You Drop, I love. And I love the fact that he does his Mau
Mau, yeah.
Surfing Bird. Garden of Serenity, I love. Weasel Face, yeah. Go Little Chimera, go. Sorry, that's the one that's got the Mau on it. Death of Me, I Lost My Mind. I Lost My Mind. It's just really, it just puts a smile on my face. I love it. And I'm Not Jesus. The lyrics are fantastic. You know, you read the lyrics and it's just don't wear a crown of thorns, got no holes in my hands. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not Jesus. I can't hear him. Elvis Ramon was, of course, was on drums on at least some of the songs on this. Who, of course, is Clem Burke. The drummer who only lasted 2 gigs.
2 gigs.
He couldn't keep up with the music, because that's one of the things that Tommy, when he set the band up, he had to find a style that would match Johnny's downstroke guitar playing, and a lot of the drummers he was getting in were too fancy. They were excellent drummers, but they couldn't play with the Ramones. So he kind of worked out the best way of doing it. It's like when you listen to the Ramones, especially the early stuff, it's like quite apt. It's like a ticking clock, you know, tick, 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 tick. It's like, and it's all about speed. It's all about time, and a lot of cymbal work, you know. So anyway, I'm digressing, but yeah, Clem didn't last the distance there. I love the fact Debbie Harry's on it, you know, even though Peter didn't like the song, like I love the fact she's on it. Yeah, again, apologize to anyone who can't stand it, but I've given it 3.5 stars. Very good.
Very good. Wow.
I love it.
Right, well, my number 9 is Brain Drain. Marky's back, and it's the last time with Dee Dee properly on bass, although claims he's not on some of it. I've written I Believe in Miracles, decent, although clearly not as good as the Hot Chocolate title song, but that's another story. I love Hot Chocolate, but that's another story. 00 UFO I've written's okay. Just Don't Bust My Chops filler I've written. All Screwed Up I've written. Good song. It's got a good pop rock feel to it. Palisades Park, classic Ramones. It says like an old rock and roll cover. I absolutely love that. It's a cover, but it's great. Pet Cemetery's a decent pop song. Learn to Listen's pretty good as well. Got to Get Out My Mind. Could have been great with better production, I've written. And I really love Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight. I think it's a really good Christmas song.
Yeah.
So I'm still, unfortunately, still in 2-star territory. It's not an album that's going to get played very often, but but there's some decent songs on it. Nothing that makes me go, oh, that's good. It's just all pretty weak. I think overall it's still a weak album, but not bad. So there we go. That's my impression anyway. Peter, what have you got at number 8?
You're such a meanie, man.
Well, it does jump soon. There's a big jump.
Number 8, I have got Mondo Bizarro. There's a lot of really great melodic stuff on here. Poison Heart is a belter. I Won't Let It Happen. Tomorrow She Goes Away. Main Man. You know, some of my favorite tracks. And you know, when you think about it, sort of late career, when I hold it up against other bands' late career, I was thinking about like the later Banshees albums. I'm like, this is way fucking better than Superstition by the Banshees. So, you know, like, no, there's some good stuff on there. And of course, it does include the absolutely magnificent, one of my favorite songs, Strength to Endure.
Oh.
Absolutely love that song. Yep, probably my favorite on the album. One of my top 15 Ramones songs.
Wow.
I thought that put the cat amongst the pigeons.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, that's number 8. Mondo Bizarro, 3 stars.
Wow. Ian, what have you got at number 8?
I've got Too Tough to Die. This was, as we were discussing earlier on the day, a return to form. After going a bit awry, especially with Subterranean Jungle. I remember getting this one, and I really like this album. Most of the songs I think are they make up a really good album. Back to Tommy Ramone and Ed Stacey producing the album, and it's a very good, very well produced album. It hangs together. A couple of great thrash punk songs, Warthog and Endless Vacation, which they were trying to explore different avenues. And I absolutely love Warthog.
Yeah, it's great. I love it as well.
I absolutely love Warthog. And it works on the back of the instrumental Durango 95. You know, that's the only other instrumental they did. And it was basically just a collection of chords, really, you know, like they didn't do solos generally. But the other on Endless Vacation, I don't know if the bridge part reminds me of the Futurist Manifesto of Adam and the Ants.
All right.
White Socks. I would recommend it to people if they weren't sure of which of the later albums to listen to. No Marky on this album because he'd been sacked after Subterranean Jungle. So you've got Richie, the new drummer. He was a very good drummer, you know.
Yeah,
it fit right in. It was a difference of opinion on royalties and all that. He was getting shafted basically, and he was sticking up for himself. I think a lot of the merchandise had his name on, and he wasn't getting any of the money from it, you know. But Dee had the brunt of the songwriting duties, with a bit of help from Johnny and Richie and Joey, but not much writing by Joey on this album. Him and Johnny weren't talking for reasons we'll probably go into later on. And a bit more complex production with keyboards and harpsichord backing vocals, you know. So all in all, I really like this album. I've given it a 4-star.
Right. Okay. So we're at 4-star territory for Ian. Well, my number 8 is End of the Century. We're still in 2-star territory. Yeah, still in 2. Nah, it's rubbish. Very mixed album. Some truly great songs on it. Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio is absolutely fantastic. Chinese Rock is superb. Rock and Roll High School is brilliant. And I do actually like the cover of Baby I Love You, even though none of them play on it apart from Joey singing. The rest of the album is awful. It's some really bland songs on it. I mean, The Return of Jackie and Judy is one of the worst songs I think they ever wrote. Like, it's terrible. It's a really mixed, bland album, and I'm sticking at 2 stars. It could have been so much better. The production's all right. I mean, Phil Spector's clearly a nut job because he allegedly held them by gunpoint for "Baby I Love You," which wouldn't surprise you now, know what we do know about him. But it's, I mean, the album sleeve is brilliant. I think it's probably there are 3 great songs on it. There are 3 truly great songs on it. There's nothing else I would listen to off the album. So yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm still at 2-star territory, End of the Century. Things will change next.
Are you going to go into a Ramones song after delivering that? I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind.
Or psychotherapy. You know what have you got at number 7?
I can't believe you've done to that album.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
I'm in shock. But anyway, let's carry on. Number 7, I've got Road to Ruin, which does contain one of my favourite Ramones songs. Possibly my absolute favourite. I don't know. It changes all the time, you know. It's difficult, but I Want to Be Today.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It really is, you know, iconic. And that album to me is, you know, when they really sort of started putting some light and shade in, you know. And the you started to really see the Joey's love of the 60s, well, all of their love of the 60s stuff really coming through a lot stronger at that point. I Just Want to Have Something to Do and Questioningly, really show that very well. But then you've got tracks like Go Mental and Bad Brain, which I just call sort of lazy Ramones songs. It's like just turn the guitar on and that's it. Do that for 2 minutes and got a Ramones song. So, but it's still, there aren't that many of those of the of Ramones by Numbers tracks on there. Yeah. So yeah, it's my number 7, Road to Ruin, 4 stars for me.
Ian, what have you got next?
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say on that album. Have you ever seen the Rock and Roll High School, the musical film?
No.
Oh, you've not seen it? It's because well, the reason why I'm asking is to sing quite a few of the of that album, Road to Ruin songs on it. It's come out. It's cheese-tastic. The thing. It's like it's cheesier than Porky's, I think.
That's one of them films.
Oh, I can't describe how cheesy it is. Like, yeah, but they do a lot of the songs from that, and obviously sing Rock and Roll High School.
Right. I've seen the video clip for Rock and Roll High School, obviously, because it's in a school and that. Yeah.
Aye, yeah. My are we up to 7 now?
7.
7. Yeah. I've got Pleasant Dreams. This one's an absolute classic. And this was it was the only album I remember. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. The first album that came out after I got into the Ramones, so I was heavily into the Ramones, but there was quite a long period, I think, maybe end of the century. What year was end of the century?
80.
Oh, not 80. So I think this was 81. So I'd already had end of the century, but this one came out, and I remember my dad came back from work and said, "Oh, there's a Ramones album in the window of Virgin store." And I was like, "What, really?" Because once again, the press never, you never got any mention of them, So I was straight down there, and I was dead excited, and I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of Ramones fans only like the early stuff and all that, but they had to change their style. They couldn't keep putting out similar albums, otherwise it would have just burned out, And I think they're really into their songwriting swing, and there's some real quality songs on this. Open Now, We Want the Airwaves. It's quite heavy, very heavy. All's Quiet on the Eastern Front. That's a fast, catchy one. KKK Took My Baby Away, an absolute belter, and that was all based around the fact that Johnny, Joey's girlfriend, and ended up marrying her, and after that there was just nothing but animosity between them, and they never spoke, I don't think, after that.
No, they'd be in the same van and would barely ever speak, wouldn't they? I'm not sure they ever spoke properly ever again.
No, they didn't.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because they were still in the band together for 14 years.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, touring, and the thing is, they were touring almost all the time.
Yeah,
touring almost all the time and not speaking to each other. But I think the important thing was the brand, the Ramones. So it came before everything, So anyway, I'll carry on. You Sound Like You're Sick. She's a Sensation. 7-Eleven. That was another. That was like one of Joey's heart wrencher songs, like a bit like Questioningly from the Road to Ruin album. So it's a mix of songs, but I think they're really put out a good album here. And in fact, I remember, I don't want to take too long, but my mum used to run a youth group, which I was in when I was a kid. I'm probably about 11 or something at the time. And she says, "Oh, we're doing a party this week. Can you sort the music out?" So I'm like, "Hey, I can sort the music out." So I taped Pleasant Dreams, and that was it. That's all I would get. I played from start to finish. And when I played it, and we want the areas came on, everybody was like, "This is horrible. What's this?" And it was like, "Oh, sorry, Mum, I've let you down," kind of thing. But I fast forwarded to All's Quiet on the Eastern Front, and I think I got away with it because it was a bit more upbeat and a bit more poppy. But no, top draw album. I love it, and I think this album suits Joey more than Johnny. It's the kind of thing that Joey was happy with, whereas Johnny wanted the more of a thrash sound to it. You know, just a hard rocking guitar. I've given it 4.5 stars.
Oh wow, big jump,
Yeah.
4.5.
I love this album. Like
Well, now it's the jump for me because number 7 I've got Pleasant Dreams. Same as you. Produced by Graham Goldman from 10cc. Can I just say the artwork is terrible. It really is bad, and it
I
sounds
quite like it.
It sounds a little bit flat as an album, but I think it's been remastered since, and I haven't heard the remaster. The album's mainly written by Joey and Dee Dee. We Want the Airways, as you said, great song, really great rock song, like rock punk song. KKK, I've explained the story, is absolutely magnificent and one of my favorite ever Ramones songs. It's just brilliant. It's so catchy. I mean, it's bonkers, but catchy. The KKK took my baby away. Don't Go is another pleading song by Joey's great. She's a Sensation's all right. 7-Eleven I like. I absolutely love You Didn't Mean Anything to Me. I've just got written it's a hidden gem. And I've got written it's got an odd feel. It's almost got like an Adam and the Ants guitar sound to it at times, with a sort of Marco Peroni sort of sound from like 81. So you can sort of hear there is a little bit of an outside influence on it, that cowboy sort of feel to it, which I really like. Come On Now, I've just got rid of a great classic bubblegum pop sort of Bay City Rollers, punky sort of feel to it, which I really like. The Business Is Killing Me. I love the minor chords in it because we're talking about Graham Goldman would influence them and tell them to say, no, put a minor chord in there instead, change it up. And apparently he plays on some of the songs uncredited as well. So
Johnny didn't know what a minor chord was.
So you can tell a bit of Graham Goldman's influence in there because he's a great pop songwriter. And I've gone from 2 folks. I'm doubling it. We've gone to 4 stars. Ooh. So 4-star territory all of a sudden there. So yeah, Pleasant Dreams is a 4-star album for me.
Do you like the closing track, Sitting in My Room?
Yeah, I think the whole album's really, really good. There's no real weaknesses on it. There's some exceptional songs and some very good songs. So yeah, it's 4 stars for me. It's an excellent album. So Peter, what have you got in now at number 6?
Number 6, I've got Rocket to Russia. Just it's pure Ramones, but it's where they start to get Ramones by numbers a little bit, and I'm kind of glad that things changed afterwards. Here Today, Gone Tomorrow is one of my favorites. Teenage Lobotomy, Why Was It Always This Way?
Teenage Lobotomy. It's mad,
it's just classic Ramones. But I'm glad that things changed after this because they wouldn't have got away with another album like that. And I mean, it is pure Ramones. Fantastic, love it. 4 stars.
All right, 4 stars from Peter Ramone there. What have you got next, Ian?
Number 6, is it?
Yeah.
6. I've got Road to Ruin, and I completely agree. It was time to change. Although I think that the first 3 albums are like they're almost the second two are replicating the first, but in a different way, with great songs on each one. You know, there was a cigarette papers were in between them all, but they couldn't do a fourth one like that. You know, so this was a good direction for them to go in. This was Marky's first album. Tommy'd had enough. He was getting treated badly by Johnny on tour. You know, he just didn't like it. I think when
stories of Johnny or he's just not pleasant. I mean, if you listen to the Talking Heads book by Chris France, and he talks about touring with the Ramones, and he just basically says that Tommy was an absolute moron. All the way through it, and everybody didn't like him with the Talking Heads, and then same with the Ramones. You know, they just found him a real bore. He wouldn't try different food. He wouldn't go to various venues. He wouldn't do various things because he just wouldn't go to museums. Found it really boring. You know, as the band would all go out and investigate stuff, he wasn't interested in anything, and just not pleasant and quite rude as well. Wouldn't let them use a tuner and stuff. You know, it's just like really petty. But go on.
Maybe it made the Ramones what they were, you know, that kind of, you know, they weren't all the same, and there was fighting in the band. It was Marky's first album. Funny enough, well, that's the album cover there. But I think they had to alter the graphics for, as far as I know, they had Tommy on there first, so they had to put alter and put Marky's face on the drums there. And I Want to Be Sedated. Yeah, I think that's about the second most popular streamed song. It's an absolute classic, you know. And I think it became popular later on in their career. I don't know what sparked it off, but it should have been a hit, a big hit, like, but it wasn't. The whole album hangs together. It's a bit, you know, there's quite a bit of darkness on it, about bad brains and going mental. And I'm against. No, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I Wanted Everything. I Don't Want You. Go mental. So yeah, it's a bit darker, but they do a good cover of Needles and Pins on this one, and Don't Come Close. I always think, B. Robertson must have nicked the guitar for Bang Bang, because I always hear that.
Bang Bang. That's one for the older viewers, isn't it? Bang Bang by B. Robertson.
Yeah, it's kind of, it spoils Don't Come Close, because I'm always thinking of Bang Bang, you know, but never mind. I'm against it. I love that song. I'm against absolutely everything. Questioningly, another of Joey's Heartstoppers, and really good lyrics. You know, he was the romantic, and unfortunately, he didn't have much success, you know, in his life. And
no.
But he was
looking, wasn't he? You know, and
he was a romantic at heart, like
a lovely fella, apparently.
Yeah, but I think it's a really, really good album. Pure Ramones, and it was time to change, and this was it. So I've given it 4.5.
Right, okay, 4.5 still. Yeah, for me, I've got number 6. I've got Leave Home, which is an excellent album. Just under 30 minutes. Always makes me laugh. The speed of the album is just great. I love all that. Gimme Shock Treatment. Just what a great song that is. What a song, man. How are you? Oh, I Love Her So is terrific. Pinhead, absolute standard. It really is. The cover of California Sun is sensational. I love the guitar riff on it. It's just great. And then the guitars come thrashing in, and you've got to dance to it. I think it's the law. I think it really is. Commando is very good. You've got to Kill That Girl is great. It's just a super album. I think it's a notch down from the first, but it's still a super album, and I've got it in at 4 stars. So Leave Home, 4 stars. Terrific album. Excellent. Really, really is. Peter, what have you got in number 5?
Number 5, I've got Subterranean Jungle. I'm
Oh,
just a bit such a soft spot for this album because it is it's a weird album in their canon, you know. It's starting off with with the two covers, Bit of Soul and I Need Your Love. Just both really strange songs, but Little Bit of Soul, by far the strangest thing they've ever done. I mean, the whole album was like, well, Jesus, how much acid were you taking? Or were you taking it at all? Were you just Ramones? You know what I mean? It just, yeah, the whole thing. It just, but there's a maturity to it, and also, like you said, Joey was such a massive romantic, but God, I mean, king of the awkwards, absolutely king of the awkwards. I mean, they were all kind of awkward in their own way, and I don't think they're an underrated band.
you wouldn't be surprised to find that three of them were on the spectrum, would you?
No,
You take
really.
Tommy out of it.
But I don't think in their lifetimes, they never got their due.
Well, they never had a penny in their lifetime, did they? They never had a penny.
And now that logo, the circular logo is a fashion.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it on, as you say, yeah.
It's a fashion icon. They were absolutely iconic, and it's such a shame that they're not around now to see how they become bigger than they ever were.
And feel the love, because you can imagine the Ramones at Glastonbury, couldn't you? They'd go down like an absolute storm, 75 minutes of the greatest hits. They'd go down like, they'd go down so well. Yeah.
Really. Just
there's a street named after them in Forest Hills near the high school. But
Right,
you can imagine
Queens.
decades ago, they would have been like, get rid of them. They're trouble. We don't want anything to do with them,
Because they're in the Spider-Man movies, aren't they? Because they're the Queen's band, aren't they? Where Spider-Man's from as well, So the Ramones are in all the films,
right.
So much love for them now. They've become part of history. And they're not here. None of them really are here to see it.
None of the classic original lineup, no.
No, it's just really, I just find it so sad. And, actually, whilst doing the research for this, and I did actually get a bit depressed because it's like, wow, they never really got their snaps.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucks. And for me, I feel Subterranean Jungle, it sums that kind of up because, yeah, I get that some people are going to hate it. But I'm just really fond of it. I'm really fond of it because bits of it are just mental. Little Bit of Soul, just my kind of girl, completely crazy. But then every time I eat vegetables, it makes me think of you. Absolutely crazy and just so fucking adorable. Just it's probably that like it's at number 5 for me. But it's a really close to my heart album, that one. Yeah, it was definitely the one I would put on if I was feeling a bit glum. It's the one,
okay.
It's the one that's a bit more of, like a bit more of a hug than Anyway, there you go. It's in at number 5 and it's 4.5 stars.
Well, there are no wrong answers on this show, folks. Obviously, apart from It's Alive being 15, of course. But apart from that, there are no wrong answers. Ian, what have you got in next at number 5?
5, right? This is where End of the Century comes in. This was the second album I bought after It's Alive, and I just remembered the excitement of hearing this rock and roll coming out because of their influences, what they liked, 60s rock and roll, surfing music, all this glam rock. It kind of all comes to the fray, and it's all the stuff I loved as well. So I got really excited, thinking, "Oh, this is fantastic!" And I've never thought anything else. I instantly loved the whole album and played it to death. A lot of Ramones fans don't like it because they wanted, it's got to be pure Ramones. Well, I think that's bullshit. I think again, you get bored of hearing the first three albums regurgitated and nothing else, you know. So this was developed sound, excellent production, and I can't stand Spector normally, like for what he
murdered the Beatles.
Sound and all that. But he did a really good job on this one. And what annoyed me when I was playing it on, like, streaming it, is what was on Amazon Music. It's the wrong version of Rock and Roll High School. So it doesn't have the school bells and the initial guitar chord, which just rings out for ages before the drums start coming in. Don't listen to any other version of Rock and Roll High School. The only one to listen to is Phil Spector's version. It's absolutely brilliant, and it pisses all over the other two versions, which I think Ed Stacey, and it was he produced the album. It was his version, but no, Rock and Roll High School, the Phil Spector version is essential. And Rock and Roll Radio was the opener, and that just got an instant hook for me. I just loved it. Chinese Rock, what a rocking song that was. But it was wrote in '77 with Dee Dee and Richard Hell. But the Ramones,
the Heartbreakers covered it as well, I think.
Well, I think Richard Hell, was he in the Heartbreakers at the time?
No, but I think
maybe not.
No, but I think he wrote for them.
The Heartbreakers, they got the tune, and I think it was always Dee Dee with some help from Richard Hell. But the Ramones wouldn't play because it was obviously about taking drugs and the life, you know, taking heroin and the life that you lead when you're doing that. So it took a while for them to put it on an album. Johnny didn't want anything to do with it, but it sounds great on this album. I think that's Baby I Love You. Oh my God, I just it makes us cringe. Yeah, and I think I know what it is. The original version of it doesn't have the soppy strings, giving all the it's more straight, and it would have been better if he'd kept it like that, you know, because all I can hear is that stupid soppy string. It just takes over, and it just.
Well, the band didn't play on it, did they? There's only Joey singing on it. The band didn't actually play on it.
So they made it, and what I mentioned earlier on, it used to get on me nerves, the fact that people would say, "Oh yeah, I know the Ramones, Baby I Love," and it's like it's getting back at us, like, you know, singing it ironically, really. But yeah, I absolutely love the album. I think it's a classic. It should have been, in my opinion, a massive. I think it should have made them into the mainstream, brought them into the mainstream.
It would have helped if Hungry Heart was on it, because Springsteen wrote Hungry Heart for them, didn't he? And it was going to be on it, and then the manager from Springsteen refused to give it away. I think they would have done a great version of Hungry Heart.
But you know, on this album, you've got two songs that Tom Waits covered on his Orphans, and not, you know, the trilogy of albums,
Brawlers,
yeah.
But he does. Danny says in The Return of Jackie and Judy, which incidentally I love. The Return of Jackie and Judy. I think
terrible.
It's an absolute no. It's all about opinions, but yours is wrong, pal.
It's an absolute belter.
And Let's Go. I love. It's mad. It's that's the closing one of the first, say, and High Risk Insurance is the closing track of the second, which I love as well. Yeah, so that's me. That's 4.5 stars.
Okay, right. Well, my number 5 is Road to Ruin, which the downsides to this for me is the sleeve. I think it gives off that cartoon element that the Ramones were targeted with for quite a while, and I think that's a lot down to the sleeve of the album. Unfortunately, I don't think it helped. It is an excellent album. It really is. First one with Marky Ramone on. It was a great drummer. You could hear the improvement of the drum style. It doesn't make the songs any better, may I add, because Tommy was perfect. But it's, you know, he's a terrific drummer, of course. I just want something to do, which is great. I absolutely love the chorus. It's one of my favorite ever Ramones songs. It's right up there at the very top. It's a top, top, top song. I love it. Chorus is so good. Don't Come Close, really good poppy song. I Don't Want You is almost like an early Who type song, is what I've got written down. Reminds me of that sort of Who type of style, like John Entwistle Who rather than the Townsend Who. Needles and Pins is a good cover. I Want to Be Sedated. It's just brilliant. It's just superb in it. Go Mental Again. I've got Entwistle in brackets here because it's got that poppy type of song on it. The one that doesn't sit well for me is what's the name of the song again? Is it Questioningly? I don't know.
Questioningly, aye.
Yeah, it sounds like Smokey. The 70s rock band I've wrote sounds like Smokey. I'm not sure it works properly on the album. Doesn't sit for me at all on the album. It's just an odd song that's been transplanted into the album and doesn't work. I don't like it. She's the One is brilliant. Bad Brain, great. It's still 4 stars for me. It would have got more if it hadn't been for the smoky type sounding song. So yeah, 4 stars, terrific, really, really good, great production by the way as well. So yeah, that's my number 5. Peter, what have you got at number 4?
Number 4, here we go. I'm just loving how different this is. How, kind of, we're all coming from different angles, really. And I think that, I mean, I'm glad we're not actually in the same room.
I was just thinking this year.
I'm a virtual bricks slung at me because it's the first album. It's Ramones. I mean, it's 5 stars. It's perfect in every way. It's just that others, over time, have mean more to me. That's all it is. But, and also, I think it would be very different had I heard this album when it came out.
Right, okay.
I was way too young, but I think that when this dropped, it must have just blown things apart.
Yeah.
But just because it's kind of iconic doesn't push it up what I personally enjoy. So, but look, every song on it, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, is 14 songs in 29 minutes. Fantastic. It was nobody was. I don't think there was anybody else really doing that. You did have some of the late 60s stuff, like the Sonics and what have you, making that kind of. But no one was going at that kind of dirty lo-fi, recorded on a fucking cassette player or something. Just So it is absolutely iconic. I love the whole thing. The rallying cry of "Hey ho, let's go." It's the look, the cover, everything about it is perfect. That's why it's got 4 stars. But it's in at number 4 because others are more personal to me.
So that's 5 stars for you, Peter. Yeah.
5 star.
Right. All right. So Ian, what have you got at number 4?
Number 4. I've reached 5 stars now. From here on in, I've got Leave Home, and this took off from where Ramones finished. It just in a way, they could have, if they put a treble album out and of the first 3 albums, it would have all fit. Each album is like a similar setup of the previous one, but different. And this one was just, to me, just slightly less than the other 2. But yeah, I still love it, and Pinhead sticks out. Like they were obsessed with that film Freaks, and I think they've got the soundtrack to that at the end.
Freaks is a great film, by the way, if you ever get to watch it. Clearly disturbed, but brilliant.
Disturbing, isn't it? and that's what started off the Gabba Gabba Hate chants
Yeah.
in the live, and somebody coming on with a pinhead mask on. Commando, the Johnny song, and no surprise there, it's all kind of military based, and Johnny's choppy downstroke on that, and is like, now I want to be a good boy, and also on Swallow My Pride, I want to be sedated. Ramona, he does that ding, 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 you know, the choppy sound. I really like that. It was very. I don't know any other guitarist who only used downstrokes. You know, he was very.
No.
I think it's only him, and I think it's. I'm not a guitarist, but to constantly do that non-stop.
Well, I am, and it's very hard.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But I love this album. Susie's a headbanger. I mean, what a classic! It's like a modern take on "Come On Everybody." You know, same
Yes,
same
it is.
chords,
Yes,
but it's got its own identity. Joey delivering romantic tinge songs like "I Remember You" or "I Love Her So," and "California Sun" again, brilliant. You know, absolutely brilliant. So I'll not go on any longer, but it's a 5-star for me. Gimme Shock Treatment. I mean, what a song.
Right. Well, my number 4 could have been 5 stars if they'd removed the last 3 songs, and I've gone with "Too Tough to Die." I think it's a great song. It's the last great Ramones album, from 1984. I love the fact that when you read all the reviews, every review from like 1981, every album that says it's a return to form, it's a comeback. Every single album. But no, this really is a return to form. It's Tommy producing it, so there's no coincidence. It's an album full of good or great songs on it. But apart from the last 3, I just think goes on for too long. I think Mama's Boy is just great. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm Not Afraid of Life, just fantastic. I've got written, I think I've missed a few songs out as well somewhere. What's the opening song on the album again?
Mama's Boy. It is Mama's Boy.
It is. Oh, I do apologize. No, Mama's Boy is great. I'm Not Afraid of Life. It's a classic song, and I've got written here, it's a psychedelic feeling. In '84, that was really much in vogue, and people forget like the Damned were doing that sort of stuff as well. So it fits in with that sort of feel of what was happening at the time. The Damned had definitely gone down that route. Too Tough to Die is a great song. Warthog, love it. Sorry, Peter. Chasing the Night's a good song. Howling at the Moon is fantastic. It's possibly the best song on the album. Great pop song, contemporary sound, really catchy chorus. It's got Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics in the background on it as well. So fantastic song that, like. Daytime Dilemma reminds me, I've got written here, the verse reminds me of Christmas on Tommy. It's got a real similar feel. If you go and listen to it, it's got a real sort of similar sort of feel. And then the last great song on it is Planet Earth 88, which seems at first you think, oh, it's all right, but it gets better and better as the song goes on. It's a really fantastic song. That should have been the last song. And if they'd finished the album, then I would have given it 5 stars. But I've knocked sort of. I'm going to go a star. I've knocked a star off the 3 songs that didn't need to be on, because I don't think the last 3 songs are great. Endless Vacation is just not needed. So I'm still at 4-star territory at the minute, but that will change in a moment. So what have you got at number 3, Peter?
I've got Leave Home. I prefer that to the debut, but as Ian was saying, you know, the first 3 albums could just been one. You know, take the songs, shuffle them up, and chuck them over 3 bits of vinyl. You know, but it's just sort of where they land, like how it makes me feel. And Leave Home rises above because Glad to See You Go is on there. And the friend of mine that used to torture me with It's Alive, that was always like his favourite song, and he said he always wanted that played at his funeral. Glad to See You Go. which we always thought was rather hilarious. Is twisted, really twisted. Of course, Shock Treatment is on there. You know, it has a bit more depth. I Remember You, absolute belter. Swallow My Pride, really love. The cover of California Sun, just amazing. It just, yeah, it's just a bit more me than the first album. I don't know what I mean by that, but yeah, there's just more in it for my ears than the first album. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so that's my number 3.
And 5 stars. Yeah. Ian, what have you got at number 3? Brilliant. Good choice.
Number 3, I've got the first Ramones album. This is what started a lot of bands. This is what kicked off a lot of punk bands, especially in the UK. I can't think of an album where the first song of the first song a band releases is going to be anywhere like Blitzkrieg Bop. You know, it's just like on your marks, get set, go, and it was just an onslaught after that. It was just like that. It's literally their best song. You know, generally thought of as their best song. You hear it all over the place. You know, we get it before the Newcastle game.
Yes, I was going to mention it. I can't share it now without thinking of Newcastle United because it comes on 10 minutes before the kickoff and Blitzkrieg Bop comes on. It's so bizarre because you got Blitzkrieg Bop and 10 minutes later you got Local Hero by Mark Knopfler. It's quite a contrast, isn't it?
Songs like Beat on the Brat with a baseball bat, oh, it's fantastic. And I think a lot of people took the violence as like you know, serious, you know, where it was just kind of tongue-in-cheek, wasn't it? You know, Judy is a Punk, what a great song. So you know, the lyrics on this whole album are so basic, but the work, you know, that it was a band starting out, just crashing the songs out as quick as they could. But it didn't matter what the lyrics were. But on Judy, I just absolutely love the bridge section, which is like second verse, same as the first. And then the bridge, third verse, different from the first. And Chainsaw, which starts off with it doesn't sound like a chainsaw to me. It sounds more like a sawmill, you know, like a circular.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
but it makes me laugh where the rhyme it and you know, Joey's like singing it as though it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Took my baby from me. I think maybe it was because it was spelt like that, so they just assumed that was how it was pronounced, and that. And I Want to Be a Boyfriend turns it down a notch, and it's probably the slowest song on the album, right until the end of Today I Love Tomorrow the World. But it kind of, I Want to Be a Boyfriend sounded a little bit Birds. Now I Want to Sniff Some Glue. I mean, what a song! It's an absolute solid belter. It's absolutely brilliant. A simple lyrics.
People forget as well, glue sniffing was massive. Certainly, well, at our school, Ian, wasn't it? You'd see glue bags all over the place where people had been glue sniffing in the sort of late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. So the Ramones were getting a lot of the blame for like Edinburgh glue sniffers and that sort of thing.
And of course, it spawned the magazine Sniffing Glue by Danny Baker and Mark Perry, which I used to have the first edition, actually, the first one, a long time ago in the shop. Sorry, go on, Karen.
Oh no, I didn't think I'd ever read that one, that magazine. But now I want to go now. No, sorry, I'll start again. I don't want to go down to the basement, which is a great song. It's very Mick Ronson. It's basically Hang On to Yourself. I don't know if you've, but if you listen to the guitar work on that, it's basically Hang On to Yourself. But I just can't hear the word basement. I don't want to go. It sounds down. I don't hear as much as I try and hear basement. I'm like, well, what's he actually saying there? It doesn't sound like basement to me. And Let's Dance, I think I prefer it to the original. You know, I think it's a brilliant, brilliant cover.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It totally is. Like for me, like I remember who did the original, what the original sounds
Chris
like.
Montana's. Is that right? Montez or Montanez or something like that.
They've completely kind of obliterated that from history for me. You know, Let's Dance is now there.
Yeah.
Still a, you know, a silly little ditty, but just brilliant. You know, sorry, carry on.
No, I like the conversation between actually. 53rd and Thirds, that's a mad one about what it's supposed to be. Well, it's a DD Penn song, and it's about what he had to do to get drugs. You know,
he was a rent boy, wasn't he?
Rent boy, turn tricks. But then there's part of the song which is absolutely deranged when Dee Dee jumps in. It sounds all out of tune and just screaming it. Then I took out my razor blade. Then I did what God forbid. Now the cops are after me, but I'll prove that I'm no sissy. It's mental. And then Today I Love, Tomorrow the World is just nuts. It's all about like Nazism and a Nazi boy who's getting pushed around. But and I think even the 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've tried to listen hard, and I think it's Einstein's Drive Fear on that song. But yeah, 5 stars all day.
Yeah.
Before I finish, in Blitzkrieg, Bob, I've listened to a few live excerpts of live gigs, and they seem to take out "Shoot 'Em in the Back" now. It seems to be obliterated from some. It's almost like that's been censored.
Okay, I don't know. I've never thought about that.
But it's still on the album and all that. But yeah, it's just something that bugs me when I hear it. Yeah. Anyway, 5 stars.
My number 3 is "It's Alive," because I didn't really want to put a live album at number 1. It's great, obviously. I mean, and also as well, it's 53 minutes, and sometimes for me, 53 minutes is just too much Ramones. It's just too long sometimes. But it is brilliant. 28 songs. Ridiculously fast. I just love any song. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then straight into the next one. Recorded at the Rainbow in London, 1971, December 31st. I'm not sure if that's the infamous one where there was a fight backstage with like the Stranglers and various members of the Clash and whatever. Can't remember now. But
I think that might have been the Rainbow. Like,
yeah, it might be that gig. But it's a great gig, and I love the fact that the box set's out now with all 4 gigs from the tour. And it's really funny because it's really hard to tell the difference. Apart from, I think there's one gig where there's an additional song somewhere that varied the set list by a song. And also the quality is actually slightly better on a couple of the other gigs. So it's really worth checking it out. I mean, It's Alive. Obviously comes away from the film that came out in 74, but also linked clearly to the Hammer horror with Frankenstein, where the monster comes alive and it's alive and all that sort of hoo-ha. It's a terrific live album. It's one of the great live albums that never gets mentioned. But it is a 5-star album, so I'm in 5-star territory now. So we're all there at 5 stars. It's alive.
I'm pleased you came on board eventually, like.
Right, Peter, what have you got at number 2?
Number 2, I've got Pleasant Dreams. You know, this is the Ramones I love the most. You know, with a bit more depth and texture. You know, they're just showing a bit more musicianship at this time. Every track on there I absolutely love. But the one that sort of sticks out weirdly as kind of my favourite, I think, is "Not My Place in the 9 to 5 World." It's such a strange little song, and yeah, it's just insanely catchy. And yeah, I love the whole album. But You Sound Like You're Sick, 7-Eleven, Come On Now. These are my favourites. But there is a lot of there's real nods to like the Seeds, Beach Boys, and even like some bits of it, like you get the Monks. You know, get that. Oh, particularly on one of the outtakes, "I Can't Get You Out of My Mind," which is such an amazing song, and that was an
Yeah.
outtake. You know, like when your outtakes are that good, then you're onto, you're doing well. And it's just a really dear to me album. Um, might be the first one that I really sort of massively fell in love with. Yeah, because I'm thinking about It's Not My Place. Just I remember like, at a certain time being completely obsessed with that song. Um, but yeah, the whole album is perfect, and I quite like the weird cover.
Yeah,
I do, yeah, I
I
agree.
don't like it.
Yeah, I do. It's really, yeah, it's yeah, fun.
Sid wants the two Allosauruses on this one with arrows.
I wanted 3 Allosauruses, or is it Allosauri?
That probably is.
To be honest, after the first album, their covers were not great. You know, generally, they're not. You think about the logo, like such a design classic.
Yeah,
You think of their album covers, and they're really
yeah,
the
they're
first.
not they're not Roxy Music, are they?
Well, no, uh, and Rocket to Russia, again, but that same photo session, and Leave Home, yeah, kind of okay covers, but yeah, after the first, yeah, their covers not always great, but yeah, so it's an album that's very dear to me, and yeah, it's just got that real the '60s run through it, and the big the wall of sound, the Phil Spector stuff, all in there for me that I love. So yeah, Pleasant Dreams is my number 2, and it's 5 stars.
Okay, what have you got in number 2, Ian?
Number 2, I've got Rocket to Russia. Similar vein of the first album. It's got a little bit more depth to it, but just a little bit more. The songwriting is just a bit more to it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's a you put this one on and you can't help smiling. It's an upper. If you're going to go out or something, put this one. It's going to put you in a good mood. And I think possibly the song where I've gone from Blitzkrieg Bop might even be topped by Teenage Lobotomy. Well, because of the whole song, but it's one of the best intros of any song ever, as far as I'm concerned. With a thumping, and it's lobotomy, lobotomy, lobotom, and then the guitar and the bass come in, and I think it's fantastic. And the lyrics are absolutely brilliant. The guess I'll have to break the news that I've got no mind to lose. The next verse even better. Guess I'm gonna have to tell him that I've got no cerebellum. All the girls are in love with me. I'm a teenage lobotomy. I mean, it's just one of the funniest. Funniest. So, I mean, what other band's going to come up with a lyrics like that? I absolutely love it. And Cret and Hop, that's a brilliant opener. And Rockaway Beach, all of them, and even the one that when I first heard it, I thought, oh, that's a bit bubblegummy, Lock It Love. And then I started listening to it a few times, and I thought, bloody hell, that's about stringing these birds up, because and it was like all hanging around my neck. Now you're hanging too, and all. It's all tongue in cheek, but it's really dark, and so it puts a different slant on it now. Sheena is a punk rocker. I mean, I absolutely love that song. I mean, all of them. I can't praise this album enough. It's got a little bit more to it than the first two, I think, but And I agree with Peter. They had to change after this one, but what an album to it's not like they'd started to drop off. It was like consistent the first three, and then it was time to change. But no, absolutely love it. 5 stars again.
Yeah, my number 2 is also Rocket to Russia at 5 stars. It's a massive 31 minutes, which is a shock. Third album, it's just brilliant. It's fantastic. This is the second album within a year, which is crazy. Third album really in 12, 13 months. Rockaway Beach, just brilliant, isn't it? How are you?
Yeah.
Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, magnificent. I Don't Care is one of my favorite Ramones songs. It's when we do a top 10 show, that will be in. I love I Don't Care. I actually love the sort of melancholy of it. As you can tell the pain and the angst in it. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
perfect little pop song. It's just magnificent. Teenage Lobotomy, just funny. Do You Want to Dance? Just a great cover version. Surfing
yeah.
Bird is absolutely hilarious.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
it's just brilliant. Me and Ian have a little sort of WhatsApp where we message each other occasionally. Have you heard? And we're going to Surfing Bird. That's another story. Yeah, we try and catch each other up, but it's a fantastic album. It really is a great album. You're right. They couldn't have done any more albums like that. Otherwise, it would have just been, you know, oh wait, is that it? Is that all you've got? But yeah, what a great album! What a great album! 5 stars, and that's my second. That's my number 2. So
Just going back to the lyrics there, on Rockaway Beach. I never knew what the lyrics were till years later, but a song that starts with the lyrics, chewing out a rhythm on my bubble gum. I think it's fantastic, The
yeah,
sun is
it's
out in that
clever.
one.
Yeah, it's sort of Chuck Berry clever, where you don't realize how clever it is until you actually analyze them. Very good. Peter, what have you got at number 1 then?
Right. Number 1, I've got End of the Century. They made, as far as I'm concerned, they made 7 perfect albums. From Ramones through to Subterranean Jungle. Yeah, which order they kind of go in is down to kind of personal opinion, But yeah, for me, End of the Century, I love the Spectre production. I'm sure it was absolute hell working with him, and well, we know it was absolute hell. But he got something out of them. It's just got all of the elements of Ramones that I absolutely love. There's not one single dub actually. Yeah, I was going to say there's not one single dub track on it, but of course, "Baby I Love You's" on it. But it's been so long since I've actually listened to that in the world of playlists. I've just forgotten that it even exists. And yeah, I mean, technically, is it their best album? I don't know. I don't really care. It's just, what is really in my heart. And yeah, every track on this, because sometimes they can. Sometimes I have a bit of trouble with the Ramones, like 53rd and Third, it's like, I don't need to know about your homophobia, and sometimes a bit of the chanting, it's like, oh, shove your machismo. I don't want to hear it. So the softer side of them with End of the Century is going to be, and the darker side of it as well, Danny Says is one of the most beautiful songs ever written. I Can't Make It on Time is a personal favourite. I'm Affected, absolutely love. But the tracks that absolutely kill are This Ain't Havana and Chinese Rock. Yeah, and there is a confusion about Chinese Rock about who actually wrote it. It does seem to be that it was Dee Dee wrote it, Richard Hell had a bit involved, and then Johnny Thunders had some element because the Heartbreakers got their version out first or whatever. I don't really care. For me, it's the Ramones version of Chinese rock. That was at one point maybe more important to me than it should have been. In a darker time, in a different place, in a darker time. Yeah. So, yeah, this album's quite personal to me. And I absolutely love it.
Did it grab you as soon as you heard it, or was it like a grower?
Oh no, from the first second.
Yeah, that's like me.
Straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
From the minute. And like obviously Baby I Love You is just, it's not on there in my head. It's just
yeah.
I don't care about it. It was a blip. I mean, you know, the original is one of my favorite songs. You know, that wonderful fucking drum beat, the way it opens, it's Spector's finest moment, etc. Why they did that, I don't know. But hey, look, we're all allowed to make mistakes, and even on something like this, you know, maybe the fact that there are mistakes make things better anyway. You know, so yeah, for me, end of the century, 5 stars is just incredible. So
yeah, great. Okay, interesting. We're absolutely divergent in terms of number ones and what we rate and don't rate. Ian, what have you got at number one?
That's it. It had to be on there. It's the soundtrack. It's the soundtrack to my youth. I even stupidly took it to school discos, thinking they might play it, like, you know, thinking they might play a track of it. But this is the album that grabbed me. As I say, I heard Blitzkrieg Bop, and I wanted the album, and I, you know, that was it. And they were my band. As soon as I heard that, you've got an album that consists of the Holy Trinity, the first 3 albums, and that's all. It's just rapid fire, one to the next. And if anybody wanted to know what the Ramones were about, listen to this, because this is exactly what they were about. I prefer listening to these versions than the studio versions of like Rockaway Beach. I prefer these versions. These were the first versions that I heard, and they're kind of faster, and it's more of an onslaught. I love this album. I don't know if I've got anything that hasn't been mentioned on it yet, but no, as I say, it's the one album I'll never get rid of. I got the as you mentioned, there was another one. There was another 3 that came out, but for a vinyl, number 2 came out, which actually has got better bass on it. The one the original one, the bass is a bit weedy, so I might try and rebuy that one just to see if the bass has been beefed up a little bit in the mix, because that's the only disappointment on there. You can't really hear Dee very, very much apart from his 1, 2, 3, 4s, like. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Pete. But that was the reason why it had to be in the collection, because, and it was I hadn't heard the studio albums for a lot of years until, you know, and to me that was the go-to record. Yeah.
It just goes to show, you know, how sort of time and circumstance and what have you just can change so much. I worked with someone who loved the album, and I'm like, I was always, well, why listen to the live stuff? The studio is so much better. And he was always like, no, I want to listen to it. And we play it so often. Like literally, if whatever was playing finished while I was out of the room, he would put It's Alive on. I'm like, oh, good. And we could have a Ramones Friday and play Ramones end to end, just one album after the other for the whole day. But yeah, it's just I like to say the live versions don't work for me because, and he tortured me with it, so that's it's nothing.
Yeah, I think I tortured my family with it, like.
I think I did that with the first Undertones album, actually. But, right, well, that's interesting anyway. Good choices. We've all got different number one because my number one is the first album. Ramones came out in '76, early '76. It's on our top 10 great. It's on our greatest debut show that Peter and I did. It's in my top 10. It's just brilliant. As we've already mentioned, Blitzkrieg Bop comes out with at the beginning the Newcastle United game. Beat on the Brat, brilliant. Every song on it, it's absolutely superb. I don't need to go over them again because you've mentioned them all superbly. I think it was the initial hearing of it on that tape, and the sonically it sounds great. Even though it's lo-fi, it sounds fantastic. And I remember listening, thinking, I've never ever heard anything like that at the time, and I was massively into punk rock. Obviously, I was into like the Clash and Pistols, Undertones, and all that. Yes, you can hear the Undertones' massive influence on the first two Undertones albums, but it still sounded different again. And I just thought, wow, this is so unusual, so different. And this was like 1987 or whatever it was when I heard it first time. And yeah, it's such a great album. There's nothing average about it. It's absolutely magnificent. Seeing them live was just great. They were funny, they were brilliant. You know, the whole saying with Gabba Gabba Hey on and all that, and Joey doing the whole fist pumping thing, and you know, they were great, absolutely superb band. And like Peter said, the real shame is that they've never ever got to see the dues that they should have got. There are certain bands a bit like that, aren't there? And they're certainly one of them. Motorhead's the other one in some respects, you know, where yes, Lemmy did get to see everyone wearing Motorhead t-shirts who'd never been to a Motorhead show, you know, but certainly more so with the Ramones. It's just sort of, I like it. I like the fact that my kids have got a Ramones t-shirt on occasionally, and they might know the odd track, but they don't really know the back catalogues, you know, and that sort of irks a little bit, I think is the phrase. But hopefully in time I'll have brainwashed them to get into them.
Have you heard the there's a group that do covers, Ramones covers, and they're all like 13-year-old girls?
Or the Ramones, yeah, they're older. They're older. My mate does the t-shirts for them.
They weren't called Ramones. They're called something like. Oh, I've got them on my YouTube.
All right, I don't know them, but there's a girl called the Ramones. And they're an all-girl punk band, go around doing Ramone songs, and they play like the Clooney and various smaller venues around the UK, and they're excellent. My mate does the t-shirts for them. They're absolutely superb. So get a chance to go and see them. In fact, in some respects, they're better than another sort of male tribute band because you got a little twist on it, and it's really, really cool. Yeah, they're great. So yeah, top stuff. Oh, it's been very enjoyable. This has been the funniest of all the shows so far. I have to say, I've laughed a lot. So folks, give the show a like. Please subscribe to the channel. I mean, we've got some ridiculous numbers on some of the shows, and people not subscribing is really sort of a bit annoying because we really could do with the subscriptions. We're really quite low in comparison. So you know, feel free. Please click the like and please subscribe to the channel. Send in your lists. Be polite, please. And until the next time, from Peter Ramone, Ian Ramone, and myself, till the next time, look after yourselves, folks, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.